I actually can't even tell you guys how excited I am to film this video right now. Like, it's making me sick. I like actually feel ill. Before I start, look at this shirt. Hello, how are y'all doing? My name is Maura, if you didn't know. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing something that I can't believe I hadn't thought of doing before. I'm so excited because in this video, I'm going to be reading only hockey romance books for a week. I love hockey romance books. I just feel like they're the best of any romance book if we're talking sports. I don't know what it is about these ones or why this sport hits so different, because hockey isn't even my favorite sport. Like, I'm a football girly through and through, but I've read like football books and they just don't really hit for me. But the hockey books, I don't know what it is. Today this actually came about because I was sitting in class. I was literally in my 5 p.m. class and I was clearing out books that I had saved on my Instagram and just like moving them over to my Goodreads and my want to read section there and just organizing what books I wanted to read soon. And then I saw how many hockey books were sitting in that folder in my saved on Instagram. So I started organizing them and then I was like, oh my god, wait, why do all of these look really good and they all have great reviews? These are all on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can go and read these. I'm gonna be reading all of these on Kindle Unlimited. I don't have any of these in my possession. I thought of this idea an hour and a half ago and I'm pursuing it currently. So this book is Collide. The dedication says, to the girls who love hockey, especially when it's written in ink. Girl, do you even know who you're talking to right now? The playlist. Oh my god, this playlist is crazy. Taylor Swift, The Neighborhood, Mac Miller, Arctic Monkeys. This book just came out, I literally think like today or yesterday. Guys, this came out today. This literally came out today. College hockey romance, no third act breakup, which God bless. It has dual POV, he falls first and harder, and then they're research partners. This has like every trope in it that I would eat up. The teaser that got me was, it says the quarterback says nothing can happen between them. She sees the hockey captain smiling and says, you told him not to talk to me. First of all, that's giving the deal. And second of all, he answers saying, no, I told him what would happen if he did. I think this is also supposed to become a series because it says Off the Ice 1. But I don't know if it's going to be like all hockey or if it's going to be like how Hannah Grace is doing her series, but like they're not all hockey books. But this is about when an ultimatum from her professor thrusts Summer Preston into an unexpected collision with hockey captain Aiden Crawford. He wants to become a sports psychologist. Like, we're gonna be doing some psychoanalyzing on Aiden. But Aiden is the captain of the college hockey team, and when his reckless decision by his team threatens to jeopardize their entire season, his coach nominates him as a subject of a research paper. So I guess she is the one that's like writing the paper and he's being analyzed, so that, I guess I was right. We'll find out. I'm so excited, and like the cover is so cute. So I'm really excited. I'm gonna start reading this right now. I'm gonna make dinner, but I'm gonna read this right now. I am home right now making food. I have to update you guys about Collide because I'm quite literally obsessed with it. I have to see, I think this is literally her debut. This might be her second book. For this being like her first or second book, this is actually insane. I love it so much. I'm almost halfway through and it feels the perfect pace. Everything is just so good about it. The FMC is named Summer and her dad actually is a hockey player or an ex-hockey player. Basically what we've gotten from it so far is that she hates hockey because of the relationship that she has with her dad now, where it's kind of not good because he was more focused on hockey than being a dad. So she's like, I don't like hockey, I don't mess with hockey guys, I don't care about it at all. Of course, this is a hockey romance book, so the MMC is captain of the hockey team. He ends up like getting the team caught up in partying and things like that, and like something happens and he basically is like, well, you're either gonna be kicked off the team or you are basically like this girl's guinea pig in her project she's doing to like get her career taking off. Does this make sense? It's like kind of hard to explain. They end up working together and he falls first and it's just like, it's so good. He also like will call her Sunshine because her name is Summer, but her dad would call her Sunshine, so she like gets kind of mad about it. It's very much reverse Grumpy Sunshine in a way. Like, he just is there for vibes and she's like super focused on work and her career. He has like a 5, 10, and 20-year plan and he's like, I just go with the wind. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing in life, but good for you. And like, he tries so hard for her and he just like will not back down, and I love guys like that. That's why I love Nate Hawkins. And this is just like a little mini Nate Hawkins. I swear they could be like related, but not in a way where I'm like, oh my god, I've read this before. You know, like this, he doesn't feel like a character that you're constantly seeing in every other like sports romance book. So that's really, really great. He notices literally everything about her, and he said something about him liking her hair when it's down and her being like, oh my god, like my hair is in my way, like I can't like focus or whatever. And he's like, oh, I like how it looks when it's down. She's like, I literally only ever wear it up. And he was like, oh, I mean, okay, cool, but like I like it down if you were wondering. And she's like, I wasn't. And he's like, okay. One day he has her hair tie on his wrist and she's complaining, and he puts her hair up for her. Really good. I really like it. I'm gonna keep reading, hopefully finish it tonight, but at the same time I don't want it to be over. I keep forgetting that this book literally came out yesterday, and I'm like, why is nobody talking about it? And I'm like, girl, it came out yesterday. But this book, I promise, just know I was the first #1 fan of this book. And I need to make sure the author knows this, because this book is literally insane. I'm 40% through. I was reading it in class, kicking my feet, literally kicking my feet. I have never been so attached to a book so fast, and I need more from this author. I'm gonna keep reading this, but this is like, I'm obsessed. He's just perfect, and I love it. I'm gonna go praise the author right now on Instagram. Hey y'all. So listen, I started filming this video weeks ago. Actually, let me look at when I started filming this. It was roughly around a month ago. In the past few days, I have been reading some hockey books, which was what the point of this was. I've been reading some hockey books, and I have some things to say. I wasn't filming them just because I was like reading in between classes, and I just like didn't have any like quality footage. So I was like, I'm not even gonna bother with it. But I have some thoughts. So we started this video off on a really, really high note. I started with Collide, and I said how much I loved it and that it was fantastic and amazing, and one of my favorite books that I've read this year, one of my favorite hockey books probably ever, definitely in like the top 2. It was really good and I loved it. Here's the issue is everything after that has been subpar. So after I read Collide, I didn't read for almost a month because I was so busy. And then I finally started reading last week because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have nothing to do for a wrap up. I started reading Body Check, which is the first book in the Seattle Serpents series by Teagen Hunter. This book follows Auden Sinclair and what's his name? Hutch. It's like a nickname, like I think his last name is like Hutchinson, and I can't remember what his first name is, but basically it follows Auden and Hutch, and they meet at an airport, and they're kind of at the airport bar. They're both kind of like not really in the mood, and then they end up, you know, going their separate ways. She ends up being late to the flight, and like the whole plane is like waiting for her to get on the flight, and he's sitting there like, oh my god, who's this girl that's holding up the flight? Lo and behold, the seat that's empty next to him is filled by her. She's like really nervous about flying. They had to do like an emergency landing because of the weather. Something about Auden is that her family, well, I guess it's like it's her business now. She basically owns like a ton of hotels. She ends up staying at the Sinclair. She has a bunch of hotels across the country. She ends up having the nicest room because she obviously owns the building, so she has the nicest room. You know, the bartenders at the bar downstairs know who she is. They're all like kind of afraid of her. Not because she's mean, like she's a fairly great character, like there's nothing wrong with her, but she owns the building, so naturally they're kind of like, we have to make sure everything's perfect. Hutch gets there and he's like, oh my god, why are we at the same hotel? They kind of like make jokes about like following each other and things like that. He's like being a boy, stupid of him. He like can't put the pieces together that she has the same last name as the hotel. Whatever. He plays hockey, duh. Yeah, after the emergency landing and they're at the hotel, they end up canoodling. They're like, okay, we're never gonna see each other again, but that is until, of course, they're brought back together, okay? And now they're working pretty much alongside each other. The hotel companies that she owns, and like, you know, her hotel name is like an affiliate with the hockey team, so like they stay at her hotels basically. So that's how they're always connected. I gave this book, it says I gave it a 2-star on Goodreads, and I feel like I didn't give it that low of a rating. I think I probably gave it like just barely under a 3. I didn't love it. I don't know why. I think I was just in a slump, but honestly, like if I'm in a slump and a book is not giving me enough to like make me want to read it and it feels like a chore, that's probably below 3 stars. Kind of why I put it there. I would recommend it. It didn't really like stick out to me. I kind of thought the guy was dumb, so I was kind of not really with it. Then after that, I read Pucked by Helena Hunting, and I DNF'd it at 15%. And I literally put on Goodreads, DNF'd 15% in because what in the world? I couldn't even tell you the plot. It starts with Violet, and she's a famous hockey player stepbrother. On that team, the team's captain is Alex, and they're at a hotel. again. Okay, like I'm just gonna let you guys read the summary and like the synopsis here because this is insane. Violet discovers just how good Alex is with the hockey stick in his pants. So they end up hooking up. I can't with like the smut and the way it was written and like the words used. That was an immediate no from me. So I did have to. And I read That One Night by Emily Rath. And this is a prequel to the series. It's like really, really short, like 100 pages. And I gave this 3 stars. I really liked it. It's literally just the hookup between these two characters that kind of leads to the first book, why they kind of are distant and why they can't really be together and all that kind of stuff. So basically, Rachel is a sports medicine doctor. She is in Seattle because of her brother's wedding. Jake, who is the main guy in the book, is in Seattle to meet up with his sister. His sister doesn't end up showing up, but Rachel and Jake hook up. What's really crazy is like they're both like no hookups, they don't do that kind of thing, and then they hooked up and they get really attached and then they have to go their separate ways, and she ends up leaving him and doesn't leave any trace of her name, her phone number, where she's from, like literally nothing in the first book. Which like this isn't a spoiler because like I guess it kind of could be a spoiler, but at the same time like it's 100 pages in this prequel, and also if you didn't read the prequel, which you really don't have to, but like I guess you could. I could see where it could be necessary, but in the first book they end up meeting up again. She's like, oh my god, because the team she gets assigned to work for is his hockey team. So I'm currently reading that book right now. I gave the prequel 3 stars. There were some terms in there and like things said during the smut that I was like, that's not really my thing. I'm actually more than okay with never reading something like that again, but I'm currently reading Pucking Around, which is the first official book in that series. So I'm 10% through that. I'm liking it so far. Where I am, those are the updates, those are the books that I've been reading. Nothing too eventful because really none of them have stuck out to me. This video is turning out to be like the biggest fail ever. As you guys know, based on what I've said in the beginning of this video and just other books that I've read, I'm a hockey romance book stan. Like hockey romance books are like literally what I live for. The first book that I read in this video was so good. I read Collide and I talked so much about it and I said how much I loved it. Oh my god, like the decline in all of the other books is crazy. I read the prequel to the series Pucking Around and I told you guys that I really liked it. It was 100 pages. I thought it was really cute. I gave it 3 stars. I definitely would have rated it higher if it wasn't a prequel because it was 100 pages and I was like, it feels weird to kind of rate this like anything more than a 3 when there really wasn't much to it, but what there was really good. But I said how excited I was for the rest of the series. I read the first book. Oh my god, like I don't even know how to explain this to you, but it was so bizarre. I gave it 1 star and that was generous. The premise is after the novella, she ends up being assigned to work with the Jacksonville Rays, which is Jake's hockey team. She ends up being picked up from the airport by the equipment manager and his name is Caleb and he is Jake's best friend. Caleb ends up being her neighbor and they end up getting kind of close before she realizes that the hockey team that she's working for is Jake's hockey team, realizing that Caleb is Jake's best friend. So naturally I was like, oh my god, Caleb and Rachel are kind of like getting along really well, like this could be like a romance for them. And then I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen when Jake comes into it? I was really excited until they basically made a pact that they were all just gonna be in like this open relationship with each other, and I was like, this is a little bit out of my comfort zone. I don't really know what's happening here. I've never read a book like this. It cuts to the goalie of the hockey team who is suddenly in love with Rachel as well. Everybody's in love with her. Like everybody on this hockey team is just in love with her and she's in love with all of them. Like this doesn't even sound real but I swear this is this book. She ends up fanoodling with all of them. What makes it so much more interesting is it's 800 pages and I'm gonna say a good 650 of that is just straight smut, but it's like the most intense smut you've ever read in your life that I was like skipping through it all. I think I maybe read like a genuine 100 pages of that book without skipping through smut because it was just like too much. I'm gonna spoil the book, so here's a little spoiler for you. I'll give you some time. Ready? If you're still listening, then that's your own fault. But literally they end up all marrying each other at the end. Like it's a 4-way marriage. I don't know. This book was so bizarre, but I was like, I cannot DNF this book. Like, I DNF'd another book in this video. I can't DNF another one. And this book is also just so ridiculous that I need to know what happens. That was that. I'm now reading the game plan. I was like, you know what, I need to read one more book. Fake dating hockey romance book. This was another one that I was really looking forward to. I hadn't heard anybody say anything about it, so I don't know anything going into it. The guy's name is Bennett, and he is known, I guess, to kind of be like all the other books with like a sports romance asshole main character. He has girls on his side all the time. So the girl just moves into college. She's like very put together, and her roommate's very like, I'm not like other girls kind of vibe, and she's kind of mean to her. She ends up trying to get a cab to go to Target just to like get some stuff for her new dorm. She realizes that there's like 3 meeting spots that the cab driver could have picked her up at, and she's at the wrong one, and the cab driver has definitely already left at that point when she realizes. So Bennett, the hockey player, ends up picking her up randomly, just like seeing her on the side of the street and being like, do you need a ride? And she was like, yeah. And then they go to Target together. That's literally like all I've read so far. It's a little cringe here and there. That's where I am right now. I'm gonna finish this book, and that's gonna be the last book for this video. I really thought this was gonna take a different turn, and I was just gonna be like obsessed with everything I was reading, but it's quite literally been the exact opposite. Hello everyone. I don't know if I'm happy to say this or if I'm sad, but I think I'm leaning towards happy that this video is finally over. I've been filming this for like a good month and a half. I didn't have the experience I thought I was going to have. I finished reading the game plan. I took some notes on it, duh, so let me find those for you guys. I started to talk about it, but I think where I need to pick up is the fact that the main male character, Bennett, has been injured in hockey and can't play. He ends up training at a college with their hockey team. Take a guess what college it is and who goes there. So there you go. He basically, of course, has like this bad reputation, and his coach wants him to clean up his act before he can start playing again. He thinks that the only way that he can really get his bad reputation out of the picture is that he needs to date this like really good girl, Grace, that he took to Target one day. So she suggests that he pick someone else to fake date though, and then he's like, well, I don't want somebody else. And then in exchange, she wants to not only shop for him, but she also wants him to kind of like make her a little bit more reckless and just feel okay being reckless, because he's obviously this guy in the focus point of like sports world, and she wants him to make her feel comfortable being out of her comfort zone and just like trying to be not like a bad person, but just like a little bit more reckless and just feel okay with like having some fun here and there. I gave this book 3.5 stars. I don't know like how I feel about that rating. If I feel like it's fine. I feel like it's fine. This book was kind of cheese, but it was a good palate cleanser from everything that I did read before this. Between Collide and this was what I needed. I didn't dislike it. It's an easy, quick read. If you want just like a easygoing hockey romance, there you go. But that's where I'm gonna end this video. Thank you guys for watching. Go read Collide. 10 out of 10 would recommend. So good. I loved it. I think I want to reread it, honestly. But thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you when I see you.